Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. You said my network bandwidth is low, but can you hear me well?
Yeah.
Yeah, very well.
Okay. How are you this morning?
It
It
is
is
okay.
okay.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yesterday, Professor Kamayama, told me to include something on being a manager in a business. So I am including it today in this particular lecture. Okay, so I worked on it last night, so I hope it will help you. I also read the APE initiatives where you are a part, I understand. So the way I understand it is that the Japanese will be going there and then they will market some of their companies together with African countries, and you as youth can become managers in those companies. And am I getting it right? Am I getting it right?
Yeah, you are getting right. Because
I cannot hear it very well.
yeah, you are right. Because it is the initiative between the Japanese government and the business, so that in future, like they are looking Africa as a new market, because African business are not being exploited fully. So we, the students who have to come from Africa, if the company go there, we shall get employment, and we shall be like a link between the company and the government, coordinating as maybe sometimes one can become a manager in the company and coordinate other activities with the Japanese partners.
It has helped you?
Yeah.
The lessons I have helped you, but this time I'll be focusing more. I changed a little bit the lecture so that you'll become, I read more about Sudan and Sub-Saharan Africa and how the Japan can help Sub-Saharan market and how Africa can be a good market area for Japanese companies. Okay, let's see. You interrupt me if you cannot hear me very well. Okay.
Okay.
So now let me go and share. All right. This is what we have done last night. So today I'm going to give you this one, but this is supposed to be our module for today, but I have changed it a little bit so that it will include the suggestions of Professor Kamayama yesterday, okay? So I'd like to start with this slide, okay? Can you see it well? Can you see it well? You just say like this. Can you see it?
Yeah.
I'll make it a slideshow. Okay. Better?
Yeah.
Better. Okay. Yeah. So yesterday, you've been talking about this as your problem in your particular country. There's violence, there are conflicts, there is political corruption, there is inequality, and of course poverty, just like in some Asian countries, in many developing countries. So this one on the four ones are some of your problems that you have mentioned yesterday, isn't it? Right. The one in the blue ones are some of solutions that we can look into in order that business or you becoming an entrepreneur can become successful. So what do we do when there is a violent conflict? There should be armed control. And the one who could do that only is, of course, the government in cooperation with some private organization. Right. In line with that, we can also do something with security. People should be integrated, meaning the people should be in one and they have to resolve to themselves what they really want. So that when they are in group, they have a better voice and therefore they can actually be more powerful, no? So that's the meaning of social integration. Meaning, from the neighborhood, we can come up with some organizations, like people organizations, and so on and so on. And then the purpose is not to fight the government, but to reconcile with the government, no, in relation to security. That is the point. Now let's go to this one, right? So the key to social integration is partnership, but you don't begin outside, you begin within the country. So partnership is with the neighbors, and then perhaps, as you mentioned, there are a lot of several international organizations in your country that can also help in partnering with you. But one thing about internal organization is that some government, particularly government with so many corruptions, are suspicious about international organization. So be careful, because you are not the only one. The citizen of Sudan will not only be the one at risk, but also the people in the international organization. But as long as you make it clear to the government that you are there, that they are there to help the government, and as long as that objective and goal is very clear, I don't think you will have problem. It will take time, but they will be able to understand it. But most of all, the people have to be educated, no? So education is the key to everything, to development. You cannot reach development unless you have a well-informed citizen. And what is a well-informed citizen? A well-informed citizen has to have education, and that would necessarily what? Once you are educated, you solve inequality, you solve a little bit of poverty. Education is a venue or a vehicle to solve actually all of these four that I have put in the outside circle. So what can you do with education? You provide, most important, with education, they will begin to understand that having a gun is no good, but the value of peace and cooperation. So if you notice this, reconciliation, partnership, and cooperation are all the same. They are all leading to cooperation. But they couldn't understand the importance of peace and cooperation unless they are well informed. So education is very important. What do you think of this? Can you give me more feedback?
It is very interesting because in education is we have two types of formal and informal. Because those who have not gone to school, they value if they are able to learn through the traditional way. Because traditionally people do that those early days around when during dresses of people set fire and sit around, then the elderly tell their children stories. So if it is also part of education, if people are able to tell the values of being in peace with neighbors, people can avoid some of the challenges. So such kind of things, if people are able to use the local people, like the chiefs and the elderly or the community leaders to educate their people, you live in peace with your neighbor, because we are, people need to be taught nationalism, people need to take national issue, not a trouble sort of thing, to value every life, a human life, more than, because you value every life like as you value yourself, see the other one as you are seeing yourself. So if like that, people will live in a peaceful way and you see each other as a brother and sister, people can live and there will be no complaint. Only people, you see somebody suffering, you'll be able to sing. And because like as I earlier yesterday told you, we majority are Christian, and the Christian teaching you are to be your brother keepers. In the Bible it is written. So people are supposed to share what the little you have, because there is a say like if you have one's granite or the seed of a granite, you need to share with your brother. So what you have, you need to share, not to keep to yourself, because that is what we call love. If you're able to show love to each other, and then that is where people can come into harmony and people live a peaceful life, which will avoid some of the challenges.
Very good. I think what you are saying is that you have already a very good foundation because of your Christian values. Christian values is the same as valuing not only peace but value human life. And I think that is a very important thing that you have pointed out, that you value human life. So do you think this particular framework actually summarizes the things that we have discussed so far? Together with your input, you are saying therefore that all these things outside of the circle, can be solved using these four. But the most important thing is valuing human life. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. I look at this so that I will have an idea about sub-Saharan Africa. Correct me if it is correct. This is the French version of it. The post-independence area, sub-Saharan Africa, has seen dramatic changes in economic development, but there is no reduction in poverty and inequality. No? So through the recent years, you are beginning to have a sustained economic growth, but only recently did agricultural production begin to decline, an indicator of structural transformation. I got this from the World Bank. Okay. This graph, I also got it from the World Bank. This is the economic development in sub-Saharan Africa. As you could see in the graph, this is your agricultural output, and this is your manufacturing output. This is the percent. So this is your y-axis. This is your x-axis. The source of this is World Bank again in 2011. So this is the percent of GDP of this one is about 1.5%, similar to that of the agricultural output. And this is the GDP for the rest, for the past year, beginning 1960 down to the 2010. As you could see, it was very, very low between 1980 to 1990, but it went a little bit higher in 2010. But it got deeper again in here. So how do they describe this? They said that the description of the economic growth of sub-Saharan Africa is very varied. It's cyclical, sometimes it is up, sometimes it is down, so it's called sporadic. But until recently, it's still lagging behind the rest of the world. You agree with that, right? So in the beginning of the 21st century, the region has become one of the fastest growing in the world. But the problem is structural transformation is elusive. What do you mean by structural transformation? These are the institutions. They do not transform. Politics, business, they're very elusive. And therefore, what do you export? You export fossil fuel, minerals, and processed agriculture and forest products. These are the things that you are okay, so these are some of the things that you are actually doing. Now, what happened to the private sector? It's emerging as an innovative force for change. foreign investment through concentrated in extractive industries is rising. This is what I got from the internet. I don't know if that is correct. You can correct it. This is the perception. This is an international organization perception on sub-Saharan. But they said democracy is gradually taking firm root despite of the challenges of rising poverty. These are your challenges. Poverty. You mentioned climate change and poor infrastructure in bad roads, bridges, transportation, and so forth. Africa's development breakthrough necessitates a committed African leadership. Strong. So this is where you are. You have to have a strong African leadership, strong economic growth, improve human development, more accountable governance, and avoidance of one-size-fits-all. I'd like to concentrate on this. What do you mean by one-size-fits-all? I'm sorry. It means to say that if other countries have been successful in doing something, it may not necessarily work with you. So in other words, all projects should be customized to the needs of sub-Saharan. You do not just, this is something to do with technology transfer. You are now learning, you are now being educated in Japan. Probably when I say one size fits all, what works in Japan may not work in Africa because one, you have different culture, you have different infrastructure, you have a political setup. What is important is for you to understand the social, political, economic, and physical climate of your country and come up with a very innovation that would fit your particular country. That is the meaning of avoidance of one-size-fits-all syndrome that is usually characterizing past relationship with development partners. Usually when we partners with Japan, we partner with Europe, they tend to tell us what to do because it works well for them. According to this particular text, it may not necessarily correct. No, it may not be necessarily correct that, we learn from them, but let us modify it to fit into what we need in our development. So when they go and make it as a market for you, you try to get what is good and what will fit into and then modify some that will not fit. That is the meaning. That's why I wanted to concentrate on the one size fits all. And that is what happened to the Philippines. We were occupied by the Americans, by the Spaniards, by the Japanese as well. So what we did is we tried to copy everything. So we become what they call a colonial mentality. So what is good for them is good for us. That is not always correct. So let us try to avoid that, especially you scholars coming from Africa. When you come into a new country like Japan, we are all fascinated. Oh, they're doing well. They're doing all of these things. And then try to copy it in our country. Then sometimes you get frustrated because it doesn't work that way. Because they do not understand, particularly the culture of your country. That is the meaning of one size fits all. Clear? Is it clear? Yeah, let's have this hand sign. Thank you. Right, I also look at this one, the food production in sub-Saharan Africa. It's 1.63 tons, lagging far behind. The world is 3.91. You are only producing 1.63. 3.91 for the world, and for you is 1.63. What is the reason why you lag behind? Because of irrigation system and the use of chemical fertilizer. Correct? I'm not so sure that is correct. Okay, despite the fact that 6% of the total workforce in South is engaged in agriculture, 60% of people in Africa are working in agriculture. The region imports, and much of its staple cereal grain is actually not very good. No? So let us look at the figure. This is the figure. Right, international comparison of grain unit yield per hectare. This is 2014, that's 4 years ago, but not very old. Okay, this is the world average, is 3.9 tons, right? Yours is 1.6. This is the world, this is 1.6. Let's see Japan, this is where you are right now. They have above average than the world, it's 6.08, no? 6.08 above average. Of course, US is there, France is up there, China is also very near, close to that of Japan, and that of South Africa. Among all the African countries, South Africa is good. Thailand is better in Asia. India is 2.981, so it's still below the average of the world. Nigeria is also below average. Mozambique is even poorer, as a poorer crop yield per hectare. It's only point, you are better than them. But what I'm trying to give you in this particular graph is that how you are relatively compared to other countries in terms of grain unit yield per hectare. This is as of 2014. Is this particular graph useful and accurate?
Yes.
The source is Faustat. Okay. So these are the major trends affecting the direction of economic development. One, as we mentioned yesterday, technology is a source. These are the 12 months. I got this from the site, and this is very, very recent. 2018. No? The second one is you have to compete within the domestic market and the international market. And the third one is the role of invention. Number 4, government as stimulator. You see, this is where your problem is. Government does not stimulate. And then we'll talk a little bit more on entrepreneurial, meaning outside. You know, you become a business and you sell from the outside, but you also become an entrepreneurial within you. There is entrepreneurial development. Then you have innovative capital formation, active financial sector, innovative entrepreneurship, progressive management, quality as a goal. You have to always have quality as a goal. And you have to respect the customer, which is the market, and there should be collaborative relationship. And I think this scholarship is really a collaboration between you, a future collaboration between Africa and Japan. Okay, we'll talk some of the selected ones only. Okay? Before they said that, I'm sorry, this Africa is a hopeless continent. In Sub-Saharan Africa, all right, average annual percent from 2000 to 2015. This is what I have here. Okay, so this is where you are. Are you in South Sudan or Sudan?
South Sudan.
Here?
Down.
Yes.
South Sudan.
Here. Okay, great. So this is how it looks like, no? So what does that mean? You are not so bad compared to the other African because you're light blue. The dark blue are better, 8.0 GDP. Yours is light, so it's about 4.0 to 5.9. Right? So you are quite doing better than the rest, no, of the African country. But do you agree with that? It's a hopeless continent. No, of course you don't agree with that. Right? You don't agree with it. So let's see if we can move on to the next one. Okay? So this is what they say about it, but that's true. Based only on GDP. This is only based on GDP. Look na po yung ano yung Jane. So ito yung pinagawa ko yung Portuguese. Okay, next. But they said that there is hope. It's not a hopeless continent. After all, they said that it is expected to quadruple by 2030, according to Frost and Sullivan report. It will increase from 102.6 million tons in 2009 to 384.6 million tons by 2030. So it's not a hopeless continent, no? So there is hope. It will increase to 384.6 million tons by 2030. Right. Okay, these are the countries that are targeting Africa. Because of that, they are now, all countries wanted to go to Africa, including Japan, right? They wanted to market their products in your country. But who is there right now? Who is marketing? Who is giving? What countries market most in Africa? Still the United States. It's more than 60,000 US dollar, followed by United Kingdom, followed by France, followed by China, India, and this is where Japan is. It's still quite low compared to the United States and United Kingdom. And I think that's the reason why they have this ABE initiative to increase their market in Africa. Do you agree with me?
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. All right. So now I get the picture because I did not know before when Professor Kamayama told me, you talk about rural development in Asia. But now I'm more focused on what the purpose of the AB initiative and what JICA is expecting you to learn. I hope it will help him now. It will satisfy him now.
Pronunciation not ABE, but ABE.
It is called ABE. African Business Education, ABE. Education, ABE. In short form, they call ABE, like in the name of the Prime Minister of Japan.
Actually, that is the first name of the Prime Minister, but it meant a different thing, right?
Yeah.
That's a very nice acronym. I think I got it too, you know, when I saw ABE. Wow, that is the first name of the Prime Minister. But I think that what they want is for Japan to increase its market in Africa.
Yes.
So it won't become an hopeless continent. Okay, that's clear? Okay. Go ahead. You want to say something?
No. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So what skills do you need to become a manager? You know, for example, they go to your country or whoever goes to your country. These are the things that you need. One is good organization. The other one is good time management. Interpersonal relationship as a building skill. You do not do everything by yourself. You have to delegate jobs. No? Forward planning and strategy. Communication skill is very important. And you do problem solving, administrative, and financial skills. Right? You will discuss each one of them. All right? I think this is what Professor Kamayama reminded me before we left yesterday. Okay. So what do you mean by good organization? Right. So, in line with that, it should have this skill. To be able to attain this, you have to have these skills. To be able to have this, you have these skills, you have to attain also this. Communication is the most important skill for project manager. Time management, organizational awareness, problem solving, and leadership. Let's go back to the first one. I have very few in this slide because I want you to tickle your minds so that you will be able to contribute later on in the discussion. Okay, one of the things that we wanted to show to you is that technology is a very good resource, an important form of economic wealth. In fact, that is the secret of Japan's success, technology, if you notice that. Do you agree with that? Yeah. Right, that is what I was thinking, right. Then what do you mean by entrepreneurial development? You need to have risk-taking built. What do you mean by risk-taking? All right. In most businesses, sometimes it's not always success. Most of the time, it also goes down. But you have to take the risk, no matter what the odds are. You know, what are the difficulties in your country? Violence, corruption, those are, but you have to take the risk, whatever that is. And to continue to build it new ways, new approaches. So how do you do it? These are entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs are breaking tradition. So instead of doing what is being told to you, you have to be creative and innovative. What do you mean by creative? You have to do things what is appropriate to your particular social, political, cultural milieu. That's being creative, and innovate some enterprises that could fit into it. What kind of market is needed? What kind of products is needed in my country? You do not just get from people outside because they do not understand your country well. You are the one who understands your country well. And that's the meaning of risk-taking. Meaning to say, I repeat, risk-taking is no matter what the odds are, meaning no matter what the barriers and difficulties are, you continue to move on as long as you focus on the goal that you wanted to achieve. No? That's risk-taking. Right. In any business, there is always competition within Sudan and outside of Sudan. Especially in the globalization area, you are not just dealing with the domestic market, you are also dealing with international markets. No? You are not just dealing with domestic market, but also international market. So what do you mean by competition? Is actually a collective response to marketplace. No? So what do you do so that you will be competitive? Your technology should be scientific. The product should be it's a science. It's invented from science. It's technological, and it can actually make profit. So economic means profit. Profit. You gain something for it. So that, what do you have? Do you have people who will work with you, the technology, and you have to have financial capital. So those are the three things that you need to compete. People, we call it human resources, technology, and capital, which is the financial one. To compete effectively for vibrant and diversified economies. So what do you have? Human, technological, and financial, right? Now, do you have to invent? The role of inventions. There's a lot of inventions now. In fact, it's an unprecedented burst of invention. So what are the technological advances that are occurring? Incredible speed and frequency. I was just thinking, like for example, if I have this computer, 3 days, in a month or two, it will be obsolete already. It keeps on changing. Even my washing machine is obsolete already because there's a new one and keep on doing and everything. So you have to invent and reinvent, or else you won't compete. You will die if you do not change. A very good example of that is the use of Tupperware plastics for storage of food. No? Tupperware is very, very important before, but they did not innovate. So what happened? Another new invention took over. There is now plastic that is microwavable. Tupperware is not microwavable. So what happened to them? They lose their business. So you have to continue inventing to suit the market. Because when Tupperware was invented, there's no microwave yet. It's just storing food in the refrigerator. Now there is a plastic which is already microwavable. That's the meaning of what I meant by invention. You keep on doing and redoing things. This is your problem in Sudan. The government is not a good stimulator. Am I getting it right? Yeah, based on our discussion yesterday. The government should find positive, non-interventionist approaches to encourage entrepreneurship and technological diversification. They need to create jobs. Wow, they need to create jobs. They need to provide benefits to small business sectors and forward technology. So in other words, they have to be technology friendly. The creation of an environment that promotes entrepreneurial activity has become a more important focal point in the government policies on development. No? The creation of an environment that promotes entrepreneurial activity has become a more important focal point. So what does the government as a stimulator should do? It should be business friendly. In other words, it should encourage people, entrepreneurs, to have their own private business and to encourage technological diversification. That is the meaning of what is government as a stimulator. What do you mean by innovative capital formation? Innovative capital formation is providing catalysts for the entrepreneurial process, mechanism for providing seed capital. So what do? You provide seed capital and venture capital in expanding industry. If the entrepreneurial process is to succeed, it is essential to continue to support and expand the capital. Because the capital should not be just 100,000 yen. It should continue to expand and to expand. In 10 years, it should be 1 trillion yen, no? Because it should not be static. It can continue to change your capital to be able to do. And this is the one I'm telling you, collaborative relationship. Finally, you have to create a collaborative relationship among all of you in the business, among government, and also the academe. Because the academe are the one are doing developmental research. No? So they invent something in their laboratory, introduce it to the business, so that's a new technology. So it's what? A cooperation. Whose collaborative relationship is it? Business, government, and academe. Business, government, and academe are opening new opportunities for commercialization so that you can accelerate the technology transfer process. So I'd like to elaborate on that. It should be the business alone cannot do it. You have to have the government as a continuous stimulator, and the academics are the ones who are opening new opportunities, new products, so that they can patent it and sell it to the businessman. The businessman will market it, and the government should provide an opportunity for that particular new technology to be of use to mankind. What is all of this? It is not just for personal profit. It is actually improving the standard of living of every citizen in any country. So it is improving the standard of living, and I think the better word for it is improving the quality of life. That is important. What is the meaning of quality of life? Before, only 20% have toilets inside their house. When there is a quality of life or improved standard of living, each household has their own toilet facilities. That is quality of life. That is change in standard of living. If before they have to get water several kilometers away, now when there is an improved standard of living, they have their own pipes and in their own inside their household, so they could have indoor pumps. That is the meaning of standard of living. That's the meaning of improved quality of life. And that is the main aim of business. Why do you want business? improve the GDP. And the GDP will be translated into improvement of the quality of life and the standard of living of every citizen in the country. All right. Okay, I think I gave you all so much of the skills, but let us move on into, I think, where is that? The skills that I gave. Oh, wait. This is different. Okay, so let's move on to the first skill. The first skill. Time. There's time for everything. Okay, so when we say time management, we are talking about here that this is very, very important whenever you are in a business organization, right? What is to be done? There should be what? Time management is goals. Establishing goals, and then at the same time, what are the sub-goals, right? Just like when I did my lecture here, I have my own objective based on what was given to me, and then I have some sub-goals. As a leader, you have to do the same thing, right? So you have to be goal-oriented, be able to manage your time well, right? Organizational awareness, it means what are the objectives? What is the objective of your organization? So this is different from yours. Objectives are personal and organizational. So it should be the same. It should necessarily fit together, your personal goal and organizational goal. And I think one of the secret of being an organization is that one of the motivation usually leaders in a company tell is, if this company will be successful, you will also be successful. So in other words, the organizational goal is also the same as the personal goal. We are together, we are like a family. If the organization will succeed, you will also succeed as a person. So that's the organizational awareness. It's not always full of bed of roses. You know the meaning of that particular quotation. Meaning it's not always smooth sailing whenever you are in an organization. There will always be thorns and problems that arises. So what you need to do is to be able to know these problems. First, you have to be aware of it. And then, because sometimes you don't even see it as a problem. First, you have to see it as a problem. And that is how you could solve a problem. But some leaders ignore it. Oh, that's not a problem. It's important that you have to be aware of the problem. Because if you are not aware of the problem, then you cannot solve it. That is the meaning of problem solving. Awareness is it. And then when you are aware, and then in other words, awareness, not denial. That is a common mistake of many organizational leaders. They keep on denying there is a problem. But you have to be aware of it so that you are able to solve it. Okay. And all of this meant leadership. Have you heard about what is meant by charismatic leader? Do you know what it is? All right. There are several kinds of, several styles of leadership. One is what they call charismatic leader. He doesn't do anything. He just have the charisma. So when you see him, you just need to follow and follow and follow him. You know, sometimes following blindly. And they said that Hitler was once a charismatic leader. I don't know if his Prime Minister Abe is a charismatic leader, right? Charismatic leader, Indira Gandhi is a charismatic leader. Nelson Mandela is a charismatic leader. Okay, then there are leaders who are goal-oriented, and there are also leaders that are they understand laissez-faire. You know, a leader doesn't give any direction. Just let you do whatever you want to do. Right? Sometimes in the Google organization, I understand when you are part of Yahoo and Google, the leader do not, or Facebook, it's a very big company. They do not tell the workers what to do. Because they said if they tell them what to do, they lose their creative juices. They cannot become creative. So what do? They let them do whatever they wanted to do. And so that it can stimulate their creativeness. And that is a kind of a laissez-faire leadership. Okay. What kind? Okay. I want you to answer this. Your turn.
Yeah, like according to my understanding, the role of external actor is in shaping the development policy and practice in Africa. As a leader, you need to be a person who is a principal, not to take everything. Sometimes you need to look into what is suggested to you, whether it is good or not. You need to look at the advantage and disadvantage before you implement. Not everything is said to you, you need to take it now. You need to be a person of a principle so that you look at what you take and value it to the situation in the ground. Because what you copy from somewhere, sometimes it will not work well. Because the situation on the ground, you need to see, if I do like this, will it be favoring my side or it will all harm the other side? So as being a leader, you a leader for everybody, you need to come into a middle ground where both the opposition and the party, where because every leader is coming through a party sort of thing, it is like a political result. You need to be in the middle where you are sometimes your party itself, they have to reject you because when you are doing right thing, what is not favoring them, they will reject you. But you should do what is right, not what people are saying. If you see it is not right, you don't take it, but you do what is right for everybody, for the benefit of the younger generation to come, and because you start the benefit from where you are, and this will continue for some years. You need not to focus for what is for your time, but focus for the future, because as the world continue, you need to focus what will be ahead afterward for the younger generation to come.
As a leader, becoming more adaptive might be the keyword, and see what she wants to respond.
Is that correct? In other words, you're future oriented. So let us go back to this question. Among all the skills, what are your strengths and weaknesses? And what kind of leader will you be? What are the external factors that could shape the development policies and practice in Africa. Okay, among the skills that I have given you, which do you think are you good at? Where are you weak? And then going back to the first question, what are the external factors, meaning that would influence the development policy and practice in Africa? Your turn.
The external factor which are influencing shaping the development policy and the practice in Africa is because currently Africa has become as a competitive ground, because the West and the communists, they are competing for the resources in Africa. So it is like now a competing force competing. Was like in my country, the oil, sometimes resources is a cost to a country, because in most of the African countries where there is a mineral or any mineral, you see there's a conflict, because the conflict is as a result of what? Competition between the West and the Far East, because China has a policy which they say for them they don't care attitude, but what they do is they like only the resources. But the West, they care about what they call democracy. They need, but for Chinese, they only care for, they want to care to collect their resources. Even if the leader is doing bad, they don't oppose. But for the West, they don't. They say no. You need to do right thing. Democracy should be a democracy and human right. But Chinese, they don't. So sometimes it is like a conflicting loyalty. This is why there is in Africa that is a major challenge which we are facing currently, and it will continue for some time if we are not unable to stand up against such influence. Then it will be a big loss to us.
So you have sometimes dictatorship among leaders is a challenge for development. All right. So what you're saying is that the dictatorship style of some of the leaders, and you mentioned China, can be a challenge for development policy. Is that correct? Yes.
Yeah.
So what are you? What are you good here? Are you good in communication, time management, problem solving? What are you? What is your
strength?
My strength maybe in time management, and maybe organization. Maybe communication, I might not be perfect, but as with the time, I hope I will improve on it, on communication. And on type of leadership, I would like to be like not a charismatic, because charismatic sometimes is also a problematic, but less a fair, where you give everybody a freedom to do something, but the freedom should be within the law. And also I would like to be vertical up and down, where you listen from the down, and also they listen from you, not only impose what you have. Should be somebody that's my own. Maybe sometimes my weakness could be maybe in a solving problem, because sometimes I feel like the problem need to solve it in a hurried manner, but in the world of currently, because sometimes problem cannot be solved, you need to take some time to solve issues. Those are my major weakness, because I feel like if something bad, people need to solve it in a maybe faster way, but because it might be one of my weaknesses, because I see you cannot solve problem in a hurry, but it takes time to solve it. That's what I can say.
So this is a weakness. So you think this is your weakness?
Yes.
That is a weakness. Okay, right. Correct. Because whenever you solve problems, sometimes people do not see and separate personal from professional, right? I don't know how it is in your Africa. When you criticize their work, they think you're criticizing their being a person. But actually you're criticizing their work. And that is the difficulty in many among leaders. The people under them cannot separate personal from professional. Okay, thank you. Now let's move on to the next topic. Is that a very good discussion? Did you learn something from? I'd like now to emphasize this one. Okay, this is one topic that Professor Kamiyama has been telling me, participatory rural appraisal, but now there is a new innovation in it, the use of GIS, or Geographic Information System. This is not just participatory rural appraisal, it's also complementing it with Geographic Information System. How does it work? This is what happened in Uganda, a country in Africa. The USAID sponsored project with the Information Working Group. This is the Work Information Group. They wanted to see whether PRA, or Participatory Rural Appraisal, and GIS will be a very good information gathering. So they identify opportunities for what do they wanted to ask the people to do. What are the conservation projects, and what are the conservation projects, for example, like looking for medicinal plant, and at the same time protecting the chimpanzee population in the forest. So there are two goals for the project. Using PRA or NGIS, they want the people in the parish be able to identify conservation, how they will conserve medicinal plants, and how to protect the chimpanzee population from extinction. Right, those are the two things. Let's see what they did. First, let us understand the meaning of PRA. So that is the definition. It's an approach to development planning that involves careful considerations of the view of all members. I think you are like that as a leader. You wanted everyone to tell their opinion. Of all the members of the affected community, and requires a consensus. Remember, you gave me the word consensus before? You said you wanted to be a consensus leader to be reached on a community development plans. So that when you are a consensus leader, like what you have mentioned, you are actually practicing PRA. You are actually practicing PRA, right? Right. So there are two assumptions of PRA. Local community information and knowledge is relevant. So it's not only your information that is relevant, but the local community's information and knowledge is relevant to development planning. But sometimes those knowledge are not so organized. So what do? You have to organize it and access it. Sometimes they give you opinions, but those opinions sometimes are the same. So what do? You organize them and put them together and make it accessible. That is usually when you do a town meeting. Do you do town meeting? Right. There's so many suggestions. So what are the suggestions? You have to organize them so that they'll be more accessible. The community's information is important. Number two, resources can provide economic development that need to be mobilized as a useful natural resources. Perhaps you have resources that is ignored in your community. You need to mobilize it to make it useful. Oh, it's been there all the time. We didn't know it is useful. That's what the realization. So there are two approaches. Information from the local people is important. Make use of their natural resources. Those are the two things when we talk about PRA. And that is an important quality or skill of a leader, how to practice PRA. So what did they do in Uganda? This is what they have done in Uganda to practice PRA. I don't know if you can use it later on when you go back to Sudan, but you can use it. In stage 1, the community members were able to map the parish resources. They give us a map. They gave them a map. Tell me where the water is. Tell me where the roads are. Tell me where the trading centers are. Tell me where the schools are. And that is using the PRA approach. So what do? You distribute blank sheets, blank piece of paper. Just distribute like this, blank sheet of paper for each of the member. And then tell them, map out, in Sudan, where are your resources? So what are the resources? You have water, roads, trading center or marketplace, and schools. That's what they do. The next one, in stage 2, they repeat the exercise, but this time with GIS generated map. Meaning this time, you did not just give blank sheet, there is already a map. There is already a map. So the first is a blank page. The next one, there is already a map that was generated through GIS. There is a map that was generated through using a GIS. So what they did is, they were given a map like this. You see it, and then they ask the participant to locate again the community resources. They did what they say. Where are the water here? Where is the water here? Where is this thing and this thing? So that's the second stage. The third stage is that using a GIS generated map, such as rivers, roads, and to map community more accurately than in the prior stages, and added such as more water sources and locations of traditional healers, not mapped during the earlier stages. So in stage 3, they gave them also map, but then they gave them also the GPS with the resources. So they wanted to say, compare what you did and compare to what the GPS has given us. Is it the same? So this one is what you did using the GIS. Then you gave them a GPS wherein there is already a mapping of the different resources. We validate the two together. That's stage 3. So the maps created in the community exercises been used as a guidance for the preparation of this parish development plan and input toward the environmental action here for the 2002-2003. So what did they do? They combined PRA and GIS approaches so that they could have rural development planning. You can do the same thing in your community. Okay, so do you get it? They found that very useful, right? Yeah. So that now after that, they were able to know what are the medicinal plants that needed to be preserved and how do they protect the chimpanzee population using that technique. All right, you have question? Okay. Next is one. A professor in Kamiyama, this is where we first met. Hindi di talugtog, Nueva Ecija, Philippines. What is SWIP? SWIP is Small Water Impounding Project. Small water. This is, some of the rice fields are just rain-fed. They have difficulty in getting water from the national irrigation system. So what did the Bureau of Soils, Water and Management did is they have small water impounding project called SWIP. This is in the Philippines. So what they do is they catch the water when it is raining and conserve it so that during dry season they have water. Okay, so it's like a catchment of water, no? So it's a water harvesting. So actually what is it? It's a water harvesting and storage structure consisting of earth embankment, spillway outlet works, and canal facilities. What is it for? For soil and water conservation and flood control. By holding as much water as possible during rainy season, then use that water during dry season so that you'll have water all year round. That is the meaning of that. So it reduces the runoff. So why is it good? Because sometimes the water during rainy season, if it is not touched very well, it runs off everywhere and then brings, and the fertilizer of the soil goes with it. It can have soil erosion. So it minimizes soil erosion and silting of fertile bottom lands. So what has been done? It is used to supplement the source of water for agriculture, and sometimes that water is also used for fishing. It's like a pond, right? They can put fish, right, for use as water. So it's a holistic approach. When you say it's a holistic approach, the watershed is developed for land use that enhances water infiltration and minimizes soil erosion for long life reservoir. So this is what they meant by agroforestry, right? Service aerations for high-value crops that minimizes the use of water on a controlled basis. So it's holistic, integrated, managing the micro watershed. So who benefited from this? These are the farmers who do not have irrigation all year round. So they maintain the system and protect the watershed by advocating sustainable agriculture. This is an example. So that is the one. That is the SWIP. That is the water catchment. So they preserve the water here, and when it is, sometimes they put even fish. And so when during dry season, they can get water from here. That's wonderful, right? Okay, this is in the Lugtug Nevesia. Maybe Professor Kamiyama can add more. Professor Kamiyama, can you add more information on this? You gather data from them, and we ask the people if their livelihood or standard of living has changed.
Thank you very much for your nice wrap up or nice summarizing for the SWIP project. And primarily, the reason why we Kamiyama and Professor Nelson would like to make a field survey or based and collect a questionnaire based household survey is whether this kind of small water impounding project might create some kind of social infrastructure called social capital, and to make the beneficiaries, to make the all stakeholder members can improve and can improve the benefit and share the benefit with some amount of negative, some part of the affluent negatively affected members victimized the behavior, and then that was the primary story about it. So although I corrected the data and put it into the Excel file and ready to analyze on statistical software, because the data set cannot use so many times. So once we publish some papers, and then the data set will never be never had a next chance. So without studying appropriate hypothesis, the data set correction and the data set and the data and the management will be just a waste of money and time. So I'm looking for some good hypothesis and a good way to analyze and to test such a hypothesis based on some framework or expertise or academic topic. So and this might be a good opportunity for us for me and for Tawa-san to have some suggestions from Professor Nelson, how the social capital issues can be published using statistical analysis, and submit the paper on journal papers. If you have some observation for such such topics, it will be very so much appreciated, and it will be very special for us to make a oral presentation based, and quickly we can publish one paper. So that is my current status. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I can manage.
So we were hoping that with the use of this project, how was the livelihood and quality of life and standard of living have changed since this was introduced, and the data is still being analyzed. Okay. Do you know him? Do you know him? No? So he's called the man who nourished the world. Dr. Kamayama, Professor Kamayana gave me this one. It's called Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition. It was launched in 2002 to tackle the human suffering caused by malnutrition. Working with partners like Yale helps what? Make healthier food choices more affordable, more available, more desirable. So it's not just more, it is affordable, meaning ordinary people can buy it, available to all people, and more desirable. The purpose is to improve nutrition outcomes by improving the consumption of nutritious and safe food for all people, especially the most vulnerable. I think it's going to Africa also, this particular person. So it is not just lack of food, it is lack of nutritious food. It is not just lack of food, but it is making food that is nutritious available to all, right? So that we'll have a healthier nation. And this is the project that they call it gain. Is he a good manager? I'm sure he is. He as a head of this organization, he should be a good communicator. He should be a good motivator. He should have good leadership skills, and he should be able to motivate people all over the world, because this is this is a world entrepreneurship. So he must have those 5 skills. He must be a problem solver as well, right? He must be a very good problem solver as well. So to be a good leader and to have this particular non-government an international organization, and to achieve this goal, he has to have those 5 skills that I have given you. Remember? Right? He should have those five skills. Probably in the SWIFT project, this is a government introduced. This is government. The government introduced this. Probably, and then we cooperated with Professor Kayama, which is an international organization. No? And so probably they said that this one will work. Okay. So in other words, here is an example of a project that government has stimulated. So the government stimulated this project, no? SWIP. It's from the Bureau of Soils and Water and Management. This is an international organization. The focus here is the leader. Does he have those 5 skills that I have given you? You see, it should be tied together. Maybe he's using PRA. Maybe he's also using GIS. We do not know, right? We do not know that. So that he will be able to know the resources. Okay, this is another one. All right, Professor Kayama, I saw the link. No? Okay, this is the project. The leader is Prof. Jumblut. Therefore, it's an international leader again. Okay, the leader is so important. You notice that, Tamban? The leader is so important. No? The project cost is $664.59 million. What is the motive? To increase the rural income, enhance farm and fishery, targeted to increase what? Supporting changes in agriculture and fishing planning, and financing priority local investment in rural infrastructure and enterprise development derived from agriculture and fisheries. So this is the one that worked. This is a Filipino farmer. This is his farmland. Okay. I am now also in a project in one of the regions in the Philippines with the high poverty incidence. Right. Over the period of 2010 to 2015, this time I was talking about policies and programs. Right. What is wrong with this region in the Philippines? Why is it always poor? So we wanted to look into a survey who are employed in the agricultural sector, who are employed in the non-agricultural sector. This, as a leader, you could also use. What are their components? What are the human resources? So these are the resources that I was telling you before, not just water, roads, and bridges, not just schools and so forth. What are the human resources? What are the on-farm resources? What are the off-farm resources? And what are the natural resources? In your case, there are forests, right? And timber. Right. Do people have income? Do they have savings? What do they consume? What financial assistance do they have? But aside from that, these are some of the conditioning factors. Do they have credit and finance? What is that sound? There is the
your question will be
What's
sound.
the conflict? And what is the climate? And what is the peace and order? Just like in Sudan, there is peace and order here. Right? You have heard about the Abu Sayyaf partnership with the ISIS. So this is the kind of framework that we are using. The end in view of what? Of what? Improving and reducing poverty. It's poverty reduction, and improving the well-being of the people. I don't know if this is useful to you later on when you go back to Sudan. No? So you do not only consider their employment, there are outside factors why they are poor, and these are the ones over here. These are the other factors why people are poor. High population growth, there is no available credit and finance. The culture of the people, ICT means communication technology, and the peace and order. That's why they are poor. What are their assets? You have to identify first your asset, and then combine them and find out how that could help reduce poverty. Okay? Do you think that is useful? Right, that's a framework that I'm using right now in one of my projects. Okay. Professor Kamayama, this is one strategy again. It's government stimulated. Now you know a lot about government stimulation, right? We call it one town, one product. Do you have it in Africa, one town? In Japan, they have one village, one product. It's the same concept. It's actually introduced by Japan in Africa and Asian countries. So Asian through JICA, the same scholarship that you have, JICA. This is to select one product from one village and to add value to the selected products. So if you are good in clay, you promote that. If you have garlic and onions, that is in Ilocos Norte, you promote that. Then you can have festival, So that in one region, for example, in Ilocos, in the northern part of the Philippines, they produce a lot of this. So when they know that you are from that region, they say, oh, you produce garlic, you produce onion. If you are in the Davao area or in the Cordillera area, you produce a lot of clay. Also, you are very good in bases. So you'll be known for that product. Do you do that in Africa? Do you have something like this in Africa? One village, one product, one town, one product.
We don't have such activity, but the issue is because everybody, maybe people produce, but people have sometimes in a village specialization in something which they are best gifted, but they are not being encouraged because it is like they need some encouragement to say like one village, one product, so that value can be added onto it. But maybe because we have been most of the time in the war, such a developmental sort of thing has not been taking place. But we are looking forward to, as we are learning from others, shall be also copy and to improve the situation in the country.
Use in your country, right? And you can become a business leader for this. That's the reason why we are introducing this to you. Professor Kamiyama reminded me of this. So it may be, I think this can easily be copied in Sudan. This can easily be copied in Sudan. Just promote one product, enhance it, and then produce more about it, and that village will be known for that product. And then you will be sourcing out the product from the other parts of the country and internationally also, not just domestic market, but international market. So this is a description. In the Philippines, the one town, one product is a priority of the government. So it's again stimulated by the government. So your government should stimulate you, right? Right. And to promote what? Entrepreneurship and create jobs. To OTOP, local chief executives of each city can take the lead in identifying and developing promote entrepreneurship and create jobs, and in developing and identifying specific products or services. The Philippines support micro, small, and medium enterprise. We call it MSME. Micro, small, medium enterprises. Do you have that in your country? Micro, small, medium enterprise.
Yeah, they have been encouraged by some microfinancial institutions there because being founded by World Bank, mostly they are offering some loans to women because women who are in the enterprise are selling the market because they encouraging giving some more, encouraging them encouraging them to form association, but because it is not fully functional because of the insecurity. But as time goes, if there is peace, such kind of thing can be encouraged so that to uplift the level of the poverty.
The reason for that is to use indigenous raw materials and local skills and talents. So in other words, this is using local knowledge. Remember PRA? It's the same. You use the raw sources in the locality and then use the knowledge of the people in that locality and promote one town, one product. This is actually using PRA, no? PRA. In Japan, they call it one product or ipin. In Japanese, it literally means only one product. One shared identity, value, future pride, branding, objective, vision among community members. One village, one product means one village, one pride. So you have the pride of the village is tomatoes. The pride of that village is noodles. The pride of the tomato is timber. The pride of that village is oil. I think it's for the whole country in Sudan. And to lead economic development, create products under one identity and pride in its region. That is very nice, isn't it? So if you come from that region, what are you proud of? What are you proud of? In Laguna, we're proud of our coconut pie. We have a coconut pie. We are also proud of some part of our, of wood curving. It's a pride. We curve woods. We curve like this. This is wood curving, right? This is one pride that we have in parts of Laguna. We also have this, this is made of bamboo. That's one pride of one village. In Mindanao, they have this product. It's made up of abaca. And then they come up with cars like this, house. And then that is their pride. They produce this product, and that is their pride. Interesting. Okay. What else? Yeah, I'll show you. The other one is we produce bags like this, rotated bag. It's a ladies' bag. You can put something inside. Can you see it well?
Yeah.
Yeah. That is also a product of the Philippines. So you can use it this way, and you can use it like this. I'm sure your country has something like this.
Yeah.
Right. So these are some of the things that we are using right now. We are also producing. We are also producing something like this, a broom, a piece of broom. This is natural resources. Then you can come up with a broom like this for sweeping, right? Broom. Okay. Important. Right. Those are some one product, one town. Okay?
Okay.
You get it. All right. So you can do the same thing in your own country. All right?
All right.
Okay. Now we got down to more serious topic, defining capital. The other one that I will show you is that in my country, because there are a lot of shells, this is also a product. It's a natural resource. It's a product.
Shisha.
These are different kinds of shells, right? You can use it as a necklace. You can use it as a decoration and as a home decor. I'll show you one product just before we go.
なんかすごいね。One village, one product, one pride. そう、野田先生 original phrase hit her heart. Something like, oh, so she got a good impression, expression.
Do you see this? This is made up of shell, and yet it made into a flower. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Right. It's made up of flower. This is shell.
Yeah.
These are shells. And then you could see it's decorative. These are really shells. And this is one product, one village. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I show you a very good, several examples on that. Now let's talk about capital. You ready?
Yes.
You ready with this? With expected returns in the marketplace. An example of me is that because of my friendship with Professor Kayamayama, it's an investment in social relation. Now I am able to do an online thing. But if I didn't have that social relationship, I won't be able to know that there is a need for one to do this kind of lecture. So what happened here is I am here because of social network. It's a social capital. The second one is called collective or public good. It is informal rules and ethical values common for social groups that enable them to act effectively. So social capital does not belong to anybody, but it is a public good representing social norms. This is your civic attitude, common action, and trust. No? It is also resources embedded in social network which can be potentially accessed or actually used by individuals for action. Another, as a public collective good. It's a network together with shared norms, values, and understanding so that cooperation can be achieved within or among groups. So sometimes it can be an institution or a relationship or attitudes and values that govern the interactions among people and contribute to economic and social health. That is the meaning of social capital. Okay. Another definition, number 6 definition. You see that 6 there? It's my 6th definition already. It's a type of capital resulting from building relationship, institution. So it's important. Make a lot of friends while you are there, right? That's your social capital. Institutions and network that produce collaborative attitude. Then you can share norms and values, mutual understanding, and trust. You have to trust one another. Professor Kamayama must have trusted me. That's why he asked me to come and give me an online thing. So the social network should include trust, which is what? Trust is a very critical factor for cooperations with other types of capital to contribute to sustainable development. Okay? We'll talk about sustainable development later on. Yesterday we just talked about development, but there is what we call a sustainable development. So this is the kind of a sketch that I wanted you to understand. So social capital, you bond, there's a bonding. You what? But there's a particularized trust. Bridging is open network. This is the public good. This is your private good. This is your private good. This is your public good. So the public good, you are open to voluntary associations and open membership like sports club, cooperative institution. This is your private good. This is your primary network, which are your family and your close friends. This is your private good. That's part of your social capital. And this is the kind of bonding you will have. And this is the kind of bonding you will have for a public good. There are two kinds of goods in social capital. Public, called bridging. Private, called bonding. And this is the result of it. And this is the result of your social capital. So your family and friends are your private good. Your membership in sports club are your public good. That includes a lot of your norms and attitudes, shared values, to come up with what you call cooperations among them. You can choose whom your organization would be. That's your public good. But sometimes you cannot choose who your family is. You are born with a family, but you make use of it. No? That's the meaning of that. Okay, so the Sustainable Development Goals. UN. Are you familiar with it? No, I'll show you YouTube. See?
In the year 2000,
Can you see it?
leaders from 189 countries agreed on a vision for the new millennium. They wanted to end extreme poverty in all of its forms. So they made a list of 8 goals called the Millennium Development Goals, and they wanted to achieve these goals in 15 years. One of the leading organizations working to fulfill these goals has been the United Nations Development Program, or UND. We're present in more than 170 countries and territories. We championed the goals so that people everywhere would know what they were and how people could do their part. We funded projects that helped fulfill the goals. We helped countries accelerate NDG progress by breaking down the silos and working across sectors. We acted as scorekeeper, helping countries to track progress. As a result, the number of people that live on less than $1.25 per day has dropped by more than half. The number of primary school age kids who don't go to school, down by almost half. The number of people getting life-saving treatment for HIV increased by over 15 times. Child mortality, down by almost half. As much progress as we made together, there's still a lot more to do. Over 800 million people are still living on less than $1.25 a day. 1 in 9 people on our planet goes to sleep hungry each night. Deforestation remains alarmingly high in many countries. Oceans are becoming more acidic, threatening food security and marine ecosystems. And about 1 of every 6 adults in the world is illiterate. 2/3 of them are women. We think those are tough numbers, and so do leaders from the countries where we work. So in September 2015, they agreed on a new set of goals to help finish the work we all started in 2000. The new goals are called the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs. We have made significant progress in the last 15 years, and we think there's plenty of room for hope, for action, in the next 15 years. Today, the world is more connected by technology. We know more about how to balance the 3 pillars of sustainable development: social progress, economic growth, and environmental protection. However, our climate is changing. Our planet is transforming, and there are more people on Earth than ever before. We at UNDP believe everyone can have enough of what they need, living within our planetary boundaries, and we are working around the world to make this happen. Our goals to reach by 2030 are to eradicate extreme poverty, protect our environment, and much more. UNDP has 15 years of experience working with countries to make this a more prosperous, healthy, inclusive, and sustainable world. Join us.
Okay, so there's another one we wanted to see.
TED Talk.
Do you think the world is going to be a better place next year? In the next decade? Can we end hunger, achieve gender equality, halt climate change, all in the next 15 years? Well, according to the governments of the world, yes, we can. In the last few days, the leaders of the world meeting at the UN in New York agreed a new set of global goals for the development of the world to 2030. And here they are. These goals are the product of a massive consultation exercise. The global goals are who we, humanity, want to be. Now that's the plan, but can we get there? Can this vision for a better world really be achieved? Well, I'm here today because we've run the numbers, and the answer, shockingly, is that maybe we actually can, but not with business as usual. Now, the idea that the world is going to get a better place may seem a little fanciful. Watch the news every day and the world seems to be going backwards, not forwards. And let's be frank, it's pretty easy to be sceptical about grand announcements coming out of the web. But please, I invite you to suspend your disbelief for just a moment. Because back in 2001, the UN agreed another set of goals, the Millennium Development Goals. And the flagship target there was to halve the proportion of people living in poverty by 2015. The target was to take from a baseline of 1990, when 36% of the world's population lived in poverty, to get 18% poverty this year. Did we hit this target? Well, no, we didn't. We exceeded it. This year, global poverty is going to fall 12%. Now, that's still not good enough, and the world does still have plenty of problems. But the pessimists and doomsayers who say that the world can't get better are simply wrong. So how did we achieve this success? Well, a lot of it was because of economic growth. Some of the biggest reductions in poverty were in countries such as China and India, which have seen rapid economic growth. So can we pull off the same trick again? Can economic growth get us to the global goals? Well, to answer that question, we need to benchmark where the world is today against the global goals and figure out how far we have to travel. But that ain't easy, because the global goals aren't just ambitious, they're also pretty complicated. Of the 17 goals, there are then 159 targets and literally hundreds of indicators. Also, while some of the goals are pretty specific, end hunger, others are a lot more vaguer, promote peaceful and tolerant society. So to help us with this benchmarking, I'm going to use a tool called the Social Progress Index. What this does is measures all the stuff the global goals are trying to achieve, but sums it up into a single number that we can use as our benchmark and track progress over time. Social Progress Index basically asks three fundamental questions about society. First of all, does everyone have the basic needs of survival? Food, water, shelter, and safety. Secondly, does everyone have the building blocks of a better life? Education, information, health, and a sustainable environment. And does everyone have the opportunity to improve their lives through rights, freedom of choice, freedom from discrimination, and access to the world's most advanced knowledge? The Social Progress Index sums all this together into 52 indicators to create an aggregate score on a scale of 0 to 100. And what we find is that there's a wide diversity of performance in the world today. The highest performing country, Norway, scores 88. The lowest performing country, Central African Republic, scores 31. And we can add up all the countries together, weighting for the different population size. And that global score is 61. In concrete terms, that means that the average human being is living at a level of social progress about the same as Cuba or Kazakhstan today. So that's where we are today, 61 out of 100. What do we have to get to achieve the global goals? Now, the global goals are certainly ambitious, but they're not about turning the world into Norway in just 50 years. My estimates of 75 would not only be the giant forward in well-being, it would also count as meeting the global goals target. So there's our target, 75 out of 100. Can we get it? Well, the Social Progress Index can help us calculate this, because as you might have noticed, there are no economic indicators in there. There's no GDP or economic growth in the Social Progress Index. And what that lets us do is understand the relationship between economic growth and social progress. Let me show you on this chart. So here on the vertical axis, I've got the social progress, the start from the global goal we're trying to achieve. Higher is better. And then on the horizontal axis is the GDP per capita. Third to the right is rich. And in there, I'm now going to put all the countries in the world, each one represented by a dot. And on top of that, I'm going to put the regression line that shows the average relationship. And what this tells us is that as we get richer, social progress does tend to improve. However, as we get richer, each extra dollar of GDP is buying us less and less social progress. And now we can use this information to start building our forecast. So, here is the world in 2050. We have a social progress score of 61 and a GDP per capita of $14,000. The place we're trying to get to, remember, 75 is our global gold star. So here we are today, $14,000 per capita GDP. How rich are we going to be? That's what we need. Well, let's forecast the US demand for agriculture, which forecasts 3.1% average global economic growth over the next 15 years. Which means in 2030, if they're right, per capita GDP will be about $23,000. So now the question is, if we get that much richer, how much social progress are we going to get? Well, we asked a team of economists at Deloitte who checked the country numbers, and they came back and said, look, if the world's wealth, the average wealth goes from $14,000 a year to $23,000 a year, social progress is going to increase from 61 to 62. Just 62.4. Just a tiny increase. Now, this investment, economic growth seems to have really helped in the fight against poverty, but it doesn't seem to be having much of an impact on trying to get people to belong. So what's going on? Well, I think there are two things. The first is that, in a way, we're the victims of our own success. We've used up the easy wins in economic growth, and now we're moving on to harder ones. And also, we know that economic growth comes with costs as well as benefits. There are costs for the environment, costs from new health problems like obesity. So that's the bad news.
I'm going to stop this one now so you can watch it later on your own, okay?
So all the pessimists, right? Well, maybe not. Because the Social Progress Index also has some very good.
So what?
That regression line. So this is the average relationship between social progress, and this is what our last forecast is based on. But as you saw already,
wait, how do I stop that?
Around this trend line.
How do I stop the other one?
Quite simply, is that GDP is not destined.
Okay.
Right. So let me return to this one. You can watch that later on. You just look at the link for that, okay? So let me continue. Let us first define what is sustainable development goals. In one country. That's part of the Sustainable Development Program of also in Africa. So then there is also rural agro-enterprise. They call it Kasaba development in Latin America. The focus is rural agro-industry to identify new products that will improve income for small farmers rather than solely addressing crop and livestock production. So they move away from crop and livestock production. They went on to what you call agro-industry development. Let's see what we have. Right, so this is also the rural development project. Before this village, they do not plant the hill. But now because of the rural development projects, every idle land is being planted. Even marginalized land like this. Even these are rain-fed, meaning without rain there is no rice. So that's one area. Another one is, another sustainable project that's done by the Philippines is organic agriculture. I don't know if you have it in your country. But the organic agriculture is sustainable. They said it's a sustainable farming system that can be achieved because it solves environmental problems by restoring the fertility of the soil. So this is the project that, this is the Philippines. This is where I am coming from. Tamban, I am from this part. I am coming from Laguna, right? Region 4A. I am from this part, Laguna. And this is the project that we have undertaken, all the green ones, over several big funds. So we produced a book. This is a coffee table book from that project. And that is my name, the first one. This book is distributed to all farmers so that they can help them in their farming. So it looks, it has several of these. All right, so what do? We encourage them to do container gardening from Coca-Cola bottles. Okay, so this is the content of the book. If I'm showing it to you right now, right? So these are some, we use what we call these worms for fertilizing the soil. That's for organic farming. Then we also, this is the kind of plants that we are producing. So as you can see, this is the book that we produce out of that project. One of them is this one. We find, that's also business entrepreneurs, right? Encouraging sustainable development because it does not destroy the environment, right? It doesn't. And one project of that is called organic farming. So this is part of the rural development project for the Philippines. What? To increase rural income and enhance farming and fishing productivity. You have to support changes, you have to have financing priority, and so forth, you know? Okay. Laling, ano ginagawa niya doon? Pagkitignan mo nga yung aso. Excuse me. So it should be a customer-centric project development, not supermarket private level plans. Right. This is one of my last lecture, the changing context of rural development. I'm going back to this again because we are all rural areas. And I think in order to come up with a business, you have to know what's going on in the rural areas. And that is the beginning of the lecture. First, there is diversification that is taking place in rural income. Studies for Africa show a range of 15 to 93% reliance on non-farm income. That is illustrative. This is the changing. Then more of the people are in low potential areas. 66% of the rural poor live in less favored areas. There are growing environmental concerns. That's the third context. There is a loss of 2 billion hectares of land through degradation since 1945. The geographical distribution. The geographical distribution of poverty and human development is changing. 23% of Africans live to reach age 40, compared to only 8% of this region. In other words, of poverty and human development is changing. International trade expansion is not uniform. Africa's share of world export fell from 11% to only 4% to 4% today. Access to FDI is uneven. For Africa, it's only 1.9% of GDP World Bank. Increasing liberalization through slowly in agriculture. Effective protection has fallen from 12% in the 1960s to 3% in the 1960s. Increasing liberalization through slowly in agriculture effective protection has fallen from 12% in the 1960s to 3% in the 1990s. So you could see that there is a changing context of rural development. Finally, this is what I am going to say. It is worth pointing out that rural development is not a single sector, but a higher level planning device needed. We should be invested in monitoring and evaluation, not just starting a project, but you should monitor and evaluate it throughout the project so that the project will be sustained and best practices can emerge to serve as models in helping to multiply quality of life. Right, so now it's your turn to talk. Ambansan, your turn to talk. Right. What are some rural projects that lead to rural development? And what are some projects in your country that led to underdevelopment? It's another way of saying. Maybe I'll rephrase it. No, sorry. So this is my final slide. These are the seasonal fruits in my country. You have the pomelo, you have santol, you have oranges. This is avocado, you have it in your country. And this is jackfruit. No? So we share some because we are a tropical country. This is what we have in your country. Okay, sorry. So now let me go to the questions that I want you to do. Okay, what are some projects that necessarily help and what some projects did not help? Your turn.
According to my understanding, the first project that can lead to rural development is the water project, because if in a community people are drinking clean water, it means the number of people will be infected because of waterborne disease will reduce. As people are healthy, they will be able to produce their own food instead of them suffering from waterborne disease. Yes, there is, like in Africa, there are some projects being implemented by UNICEF, construction of mostly doing borehole. They are digging borehole in the community because in the rural area, people were mostly fetching water from river. And the river sometimes, if it rain, it is contaminated because the water, the one which it was from the other thing, because sometimes in the upper sector of the water, people who are there, maybe they don't have toilet, they do duplicate, all those things, the fishes and other things can be washed down to those who are under downstream. So it is one of the challenges. So if there is a clean water project, it will lead to development of the rural area.
Source of water and toilet facilities. So, what are you planning when you come back?
Yeah, and when I go back, because like if I go back now, the world, because most of the maybe bubble are there. Now what is left is preparing how to the community need to sit down and organize, because in case it get broke, it break, people have to repair it. It is because for the good of the community. Because the donors only what they do implement during the after the digging of the well, after they have done, they now hand the responsibility of the project to the community. So the community have to take the ownership of the project. Not only that, also like if I go back, like it was during the time of war, most of the trees people were able to destroy and cut away. So I am looking like a project to implement the agroforestry in my village. If I'm able to get some pine, like introduce some trees like the pine tree, because pine trees, they are growing faster and they are marketable. Because if I have some farm, I can import some of the seedlings from the neighboring country like Uganda. Because Uganda is the nearest, they have many of them. But because for us, we in the source, we had been war, we don't have most of those things. So this is one thing I would like to implement. And like also, if I feel like after going back, if I have some money, I would like to open like a small farm, like a mixed farm where one can do chicken rearing well. Because when you grow chicken, it is also marketable this day, where they can bring layer, the one which is broiler, you put them, you construct it. It also gives some skill to the local there. It gives employment to the youth who are less educated. You teach them a practical skill, how to do those things. Those are what I will be planning to do in my village if I get some fund. And if there's peace, because even if I have the money, but if there's no peace, there's no need, I cannot do the project. So if you will not be in time of conflict, you cannot implement what you have. So if there's peace, I will be in position. After getting the money, then I need to implement. And also like I'm empowering the youth who are uneducated there. Because some generation who are, because of what, they don't have the access like, because maybe I would say I'm lucky because during the time of war, I was able to go to the neighboring country at the time my secondary. After coming back in 2008, I joined the university in my country. I was supposed to study in university in neighboring country, but due to financial issue, I cannot afford. It is a bit expensive. When I came back to the country, I had to join my university for undergraduate. After finishing my undergraduate, I got the scholarship with the JICA. Now I'm able to come outside and get my master. And looking forward also to
Undergraduate degree.
Yes, I did my undergraduate in agricultural science.
Agricultural science?
Yes, because they do it agricultural science as a general. Yeah.
A BS?
Yeah, Bachelor of Science in Agriculture.
In agriculture. Where did you get it?
From University of Juba. Because
Where is that in?
yeah, it's one of the national universities in South Sudan.
Okay. South Sudan? Alright. So that's your background. Okay, great. Okay.
University of Juba. In Juba.
Dr. Kamayama sent me some pictures and link. Do you want to see them just now? Okay, very good. So these are the things that you plan to do. And become a manager for some marketing to market the products of Japan. Right. let's show you some of what Prof. Lombiama has given you just a while ago in the messenger.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
You wait, there's more. Okay, let's just show this one. These are the things that Prof. Kamaya with me. I'd like to share it with you. I think she wanted it to. Can you see it?
Yes.
Right, this is what Prof. does. Okay, this is the things that he's sharing to me. Okay, this is the one that I gave you to you later on. This is a very good leader on the game. Okay, let's look at the other one. This is another one that he wanted to share to us. All right, this is Dong Bulut. He's from University of Queensland. Who we are, right? That's University of Joondalup. The one I mentioned in my presentation a while ago, right? This is actually the university coming from Australia. Let's have another one. Right, this is the one that he wants us to see. Okay, these are the GBRP tables by Prof in the Philippines. As you could see, these are the ones that you wanted to see. So this is the gross consent. What we wanted to see here. Maybe you are not interested. These are the different regions in the Philippines. Okay, so let's have another one. This one. Oh, all right. I gave you already one. No, I gave you this one already. I gave you this one. Okay, it's the same. All right. So let's look at what else did he wanted us to share. No more. I think that's it. No, and then he sent us this picture. All right. What did
Okay.
He's talking.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
And that's how we ended the lecture today. Right? Do you have anything more to add? Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I would like just to give you time for your time because you have taken your weekend off for giving the lecture. I'm very appreciative for what you have said with us and looking forward to be in collaboration with you in the future in my endeavor. So what I will be requesting from you is maybe what you have shared with us, you can forward the slide to Professor Kameyama for my future references. What do you have? You can forward to his email and he can share with me, so I'll be able to use for my future reference. Because soon also maybe I'll be going to Tokyo for intensive, and I'll be like they require me to present some of the things. So there's some of the project like what we did here, it will be of my help and will be of great to me. So thank you very much for
Spread it to your countrymen, and hopefully this little bit of sharing of knowledge is part of our social networking, and so that it will multiply like a mustard seed. It will multiply into many, many trees, right? I enjoyed talking with you, and thank you, Professor Kamayama, for networking and making this particular lecture possible. And thank you also for Naika.
Yeah, thank you very much. So this year I have been trying do my best, trying to do my best to make a triangulation, a kind of triangulation like among the development economics and field working and sociological aspect to triangulate and see how we can put it together and make some publication quite soon. So yeah, triangulation, that is quite attractive technology term, not only with two expertise or academic field such as economics and sociology, but also some JICA expert aspects, and which has been actually implementing at the field level. So putting together and arrange some public opportunity to publish as a co-author with a co-authorship quite soon. So looking forward that election right now. So anyway, thank you very much for your arrangement for these 2 days sessions. I didn't expect it that much that you will be able to accidentally arrange at tailor-made session is also quite a new terminology. Not ready-made, but tailor-made. Getting involved into your arrangement, getting involved as a trainee from you, a trainer. So thank you very much for such an quite very special, exclusive stuff for us. Thank you very much. I hope you can have a good week, and you'll be able to start a new semester or quarter in your school. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you also, Taban-san, and have a nice weekend. Right? I know, and have a good lunch. Right? It's 11:30, and I'm sure you want to have lunch. And please, share it to the rest. Dr. Kamayama, do you have already the slides, or do you want me to share it and to send it to you? Have you recorded the slides already? Has she recorded it?
Yes, of course. Everything I recorded by video camera. So it would take less than a week to upload to YouTube with unlimited, restricted access, limited access, not for the public. And then but also if you don't mind, if you provide your session materials with even a PDF file, that would be quite nice for making a final report to submit to the JICE, our client. So thank you very much.
Send these slides in PDF form to you,
Yeah.
and then share it with Taban-san.
Yes.
Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So have a good weekend.
All right.
Only one afternoon.
I hope satisfied you.
Oh, of course. Couldn't be better. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Camera or video?
Yeah, of course. Both. Video, including me. So give me your nice smile, please. First of all, with Professor Nelson and Taban-sama. And then continuing to making a video, including me. Say cheese. Hi. Ah, sorry. ちょっと待ってよ。Okay. Okay. Then I will be appearing before video and keep your position. Let's say 10 seconds. Yep. Video. Smile, please. Okay, thank you. Thank you. That will be perfect. We can get perfect final report. Thank you very much. Over. Thank you very much. Hey. Hey. Yep. Yes. So it will be the end of this meeting. So could you cut your line, please?
Breakfast, no, for them it's still breakfast.
Yeah.